This is being recorded, folks. I'm going to get right into our information tonight out of respect for everyone who was on time, either before time or on time. But here we go. It is 10 p.m. Happy and blessed Tuesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Team Relentless training. We do this each and every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I get to be your host. My name is Marrero. I'm one of your executive sales directors. And just like you, at one point I was invited to be able to transform my entire life thanks to this program and opportunity. So we get to hear from the best of the best where classes are happening this evening. And again, I'm just here being able to put my contribution in and just help a little bit. We only have one host right now. If that host could please set me as co-host, that would be amazing. And Amanda, if you could just kindly mute your line. Thank you, boss lady. We really, really appreciate it. But again, back to as I was saying with regards to what we do these Tuesday nights, we get to celebrate those that are winning. So give yourself a pat on the back. Go ahead and drop some ones in the chat if this is the first time you're plugging in. If you're brand new, I know we've had more family members welcome. So huge, huge congratulations to you for taking that leap forward and daring to pursue something bigger than where you are right now, right? So welcome. I definitely want to give you a huge, huge welcome. But in the spirit of what we like to do, which is celebrate success, I'm going to go into our top 10 recruiters. Those are the agents that for this volume month are able to go ahead and grow our family, extend our reach. And it starts off with the number one spot held by Vice President, Mr. Bruno Fleuridort. Go ahead and celebrate him in the chat. Thank him for his contributions to the team, but as well, growing this family, helping somebody else create a legacy for them and their loved ones. Boss Lady, Vice President Xavier, Regional Vice President Raysa Otero, Alicia Winship, Anthony Kelly, one of our other vice presidents, Boss Lady Courtney Israel, Damian Harper, Tevenod Joseph, hopefully I said that right, Danny Hunsucker, and none other than Tony Martinez. So huge, huge shout out to you. Congratulations. I know the team loves to celebrate that too. So light it up for the chat, folks. Clap it up, put some flames in there, you know, those balloons to celebrate them, right? You're doing big, big things, and it's definitely going to translate into the lives you continue to impact. Now, top producers in regards to the most clients enrolled so far for this volume month. The first spot held by Regional Vice President, Ms. Raysa Otero, Vice President Bruno Fleuridort, Vice President Xavier, Saley Alvarez, Tanya Martinez, Anthony Winters, Crystal Marrero, Erica Gonzalez, Stephanie Lopez, and none other than our Executive Vice President, Mr. David Marquez. I know everyone is muted, but I see the love in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and clap for everyone. Huge, huge congratulations to you all, because you're opening the doorway to people being able to plan so much better of a future for them and maybe create their very own 12 weeks of Christmas, right? So for tonight's training, I'm gonna be quick about stepping aside, getting out of the way, because anytime this individual speaks, I am ready to listen, I'm ready to grow, and he has absolutely paved the way, in my opinion, having been in the flesh and bone, what it means to be relentless, to live that, to pursue your dreams that way, to walk forward in the moment, to stay committed to doing exactly what you said you were going to do, and achieving things such as being able to retire your parents in your 30s, being able to live a lifestyle with absolute freedom of options, access to all sorts of choices. I mean, understand this man was fresh to death before this opportunity, but his price tags have definitely increased, okay? Also his views, his experiences, and the way he's been able to impact so many lives. I thank him personally for introducing me to this. And I swear, for me, it's been a huge blessing. I consider him a brother from another mother, and someone that I will always have the utmost respect and just appreciation for having blessed me and taking me on board with this journey. I remember when these Zooms had maybe 2-digit numbers in them, you know, like, oh, we had 23 people on the Zoom tonight. Okay. And having this gentleman already be at the point where he has crossed stages to train the nationwide level team in this company and organization, trust and believe you want to get on this wave, right? So let's give it up and give your most undivided attention to our Senior Vice President, none other than Mr. Xavier Marrero. I saw his smiley face a little bit earlier. Xavier, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Mark, can you hear and see me?
Loud and clear, you got it.
Perfect, man. Relentless, what's going on, man? Tuesday night, right? You already know it's like church. We're faithful to this training. So obviously, I want to give it back to our executive sales director, Myra, soon to be vice president, right? Doing some big things. Shout out to her every single week, just being consistent, just being relentless. And also shout out to her with other leaders like Yoerica and some other individuals that are actually working on the Spanish market, right? So congratulations to you and all of you guys constantly just working behind the scenes where people not even knowing, right? That's what's a true definition of a leader. So again, thank you so much for that. Shout out to all the other leaders that are involved on that as well. That is one of our main focus on Relentless, right? It's definitely the Latin market. So again, thank you. And then also, man, round of applause for every single agent that's actually on this training, right? We know we are actually a little too shy from 100, a little bit disappointing, right, guys? We're constantly growing and people should definitely be plugged into this training. We pick the best of the best and Relentless to just go out there and just share their value, just share their golden nuggets, just share what's really working for them and their best practice. And it's only for you and your team to constantly just keep continue to growing. So, right, guys, reach out to another agent. We have 2 more people to get on so we can get this training started. And again, guys, it's already 10:07. By now, we should have well over 150 people. But look, we're not going to slow this down for no one, right? If you're with it, you're with it. If you're not, you're not, right? Mark can tell you I'm that individual that if you're in this business and you want to run, we're going to run. If you're going to jog, we might jog. But if we're going to sit, we definitely not going to sit with any sitters. That being the case, right? We're at 101. We're going to get this thing rolling. But look, guys, let's face it, right? We are on the final week of this value month. If you guys don't know, if you're brand new, you still don't know about the 4-4-5 calendar, understand that we operate on a different calendar when it comes to our business. And it's very, very important for you to know that. Understand that our value month is actually going to end on the 16th, right? For us on the East Coast, what that means, if we really have to Sunday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? A lot of us, that means Saturday night because we're staying up to that midnight and then the clock strikes 1, 2, and 3 in the morning. It's still technically like Saturday night, but it is Sunday morning at 3 a.m. Now, anyone that's actually on the West Coast, then yes, it's going to be midnight. Very, very important to know. One, because you might miss out on your next promotion if you don't know your requirements, or if you do know your requirements, but you don't know your actual date to actually hit that goal. And then 2, right, a lot of people like to freak out on Sunday, like, oh my God, Xavier, I had thousands of dollars in business. Now I'm at 0. Well, just understand that on Sunday, we start a brand new value month. Yes, we do have residual business, meaning the business that you and your team has already generated will come over the next month. It will be best value, but it is residual business, which is very lovely, especially in our industry, right? So just know that. But what do we need to do between now and Saturday? Very simple, just more production. So how are we going to do more production? Guys, we're keeping this very basic, very simple, and very duplicatable. What we have focus on is doing the 1 through 10, right? The overview, the sheet of paper that we have been showing you guys for the longest time, to go out there and just practice that and go out there and share the information with that. I'm telling you, my son can actually do that presentation because of that sheet of paper. That's how simple it is. And then also PBR. So you're going to practice 1 through 10. You're going to get the 1 through 10 in front of people. But how are you going to get people in front of people? Real simple. Just start doing PBRs. What are PBRs? Right? This is when you invite your closest friends, your family members, your neighbors, your co-workers, right? The people at church, whoever it might be, but you tell them you have some valuable information you want to share, but you need to do this at home. You want to do this at a coffee shop like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, or, you know, it could be just your clubhouse, right? So many people, especially in Florida, have clubhouses that they have access to. But basically what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and just share that information. And if you can get yourself out the way and you're brand new, make sure you do that. Let a leader, let someone that's more seasoned, just go ahead and actually close that deal for you. But if they're not available, don't stop the business. Don't stop the show from going, right? I remember me, Rob, we didn't know what the heck we were saying. We just went out there and started presenting in front of people. The reason why is because they didn't know if we were saying the information correctly or not. But what it did, it gave us enough practice to become those experts, to be able to get in front of not hundreds, but thousands of people now to actually share the information. So understand, it's okay to fail, just fail forward. A lot of people become successful because they failed a lot of times. They just never quit. They just never gave up. So I want everybody to have that task, to go out there and practice that 1 through 10. And then I challenge you to actually do it in in front of a group of people, and let that be your first PBR or second, third, fourth, fifth. And man, for us, it could probably be our 100th PBR, but it doesn't matter. We're going to go out there and do it anyways, right? And the reason why you want to start creating momentum now is because understand this. We already know this industry. We already know this business. The people that plant the most seeds now are the ones who are going to reap the benefits, not just now, but on the first quarter. See, the way you end your last quarter is the way you're going to start your first quarter in this business. So any leader here can go ahead and vouch and let you know that what made them successful is during this season is they planted the most seeds as possible. Now, understand that you might reap some of the benefits now, but the biggest blessings are going to come first quarter. So don't give up, don't get discouraged. And again, create momentum, because you're going to start reaping the benefits. And the reason why we also want to start creating momentum, and I don't want to scare you guys, but I don't want you guys to get caught off guard. But guys, understand in November, a lot of these customers been with us going on their 4th month. What's going to happen on 4th month? They're going to go from 89 to 69. What's going to happen for us? We're going to go from 85 of residual business to $65 of residual business. So we are going to see an impact in our business when that change is made. But that's a great thing. So don't get discouraged. The reason why is because now people are getting more value. People are going to get the Rocket Lawyer involved. What does that mean for us, right? Sometimes we have to lose to gain a lot more. The reason why is because now that is retention. That means that customer is going to stay with us a lot longer. That means we're going to keep that value a lot longer, not because it's just higher. It might be lower, but we're keeping more people, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, that's very important to know. And we need to just let our customers know, like, hey, look, you might want to reach out on that 4th month or after that 4th month and say, hey, congratulations, download that Rocket Lawyer. It's completely included. And congratulations, your monthly fee just dropped by $20. Some of these people might not even know that, right? Some of these people might be on that automated system, but still just congratulate them on the additional services and congratulate them because they're saving more money every single month. That right there is going to bring you a ton of referrals. I'm telling you, if you do that, just go ahead and do that. That's going to be very, very powerful, right? So understand that at the end of the day, by us losing value, we're actually going to gain a lot more business. So don't let that discourage you. And then understand this, guys, creating the momentum this week is going to lead to next week. Why is next week very important? Well, it's important to talk about it now because next week is what's actually going to go ahead and lead and set the tone for the 5-week value. What do I mean by that? Guys, remember, anything we do next week is going to go ahead and double on the 5th week of the next month value. Everything's going to double, right? And if our value is going to drop and take a little dip, then we need to take full advantage of that. So we want to make all our agents just very aware of what's going to happen next week. Very aware of why this week you need to take full advantage. We're closing out on the actual month, but then next week we're starting a new month. But understand that's going to set the tone, and everything you do is going to double on the 5th week value month, where we all know a lot of promotions happen, even though our main focus is to get promoted during the 4-week value, not the 5th week. 5th week, the 5-week value, that's just a bonus for us, right? We just make more money those actual months. But honestly, the way we want to go ahead and start getting promoted is on the 4 weeks. The 4-week value, not the actual 5 weeks, right? And think about it, when you do it in 4 weeks, you're almost guaranteed to keep that title. You're not going to lose it. You're not struggling every single 4 weeks to keep something that it took you 5 weeks to do. If you could do it in 4 weeks, then your team definitely could do it in 5 weeks. So let's start focusing on that. Next month, next value month, let's go ahead and hit our goals. Let's not wait for the 5 weeks. We don't need 5 weeks. 4 weeks is enough time in business to make it happen. It's all a mindset. Just like this week, we're going to go ham. But if we went ham every single week, first week, second week, third week, leading on to the fourth week, you know how much momentum we'll have? You know how much enrollments we'll have, how much more production we'll have? We have to change our mindset, right? We have to just stay hungry every single day. And then also, guys, look, since it's the last week of the actual value, run reports. I tell people all the time, do not miss out on promotions. Don't let your team miss out on any promotions. I have taken the time with even the top leaders to go through the entire organization to see how many more promotions come out of that entire organization. And how do you do that? It's very simple. Go to your agent reports and go to downline title requirement report. Guys, I go in there and even my personal, see how many people I brought in that I can get to field trainer by the end of this week. Very doable. People are doing it within 24 hours. Then I'm also looking for that field trainer I can get to senior field trainers. But once I can do that, Rob can tell you firsthand how when we did that a long time ago, it was a domino effect. By Rob coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning, it actually created like 3 to 4 promotions. So if you focus on creating field trainers and also senior field trainers, by default, you're going to create sales director. You're going to create regional sales directors. Sales directors turn around and create vice presidents. Regional sales directors turn around and create regional vice presidents. So guys, if you just stay focused on a simple task, it's this job or this opportunity, this business will be so much easier for you. And you will see so much more success. It's very duplicatable. Get yourself out the way, right? So what I want to do is I want to just show the importance of the end of the value month. Just understand why we need to pick up the momentum now. Very easy to do it, guys. Have fun doing this. I remember when I first started doing this, man, ask Rob, right? We used to just have a blast. I have so many videos and I go through our pictures and I sit there and I watch them. And I'm like, man, when we started this, we used to have so much fun. We were just taking road trips. We were just showing up at events. It didn't matter if we were straight in the hood. And Rob could tell you, I used to go in there and strap up. We was straight in the hood at some points, right? And all the way to International Plaza, which is like the highest of the high, right? But it didn't matter. We always have fun. So go out there and just have fun with this business. Don't get discouraged. Don't get upset, right? Just have fun. People feel that energy. Understand, energy only travels. Let people feel that energy. Let them feel that it's just more than a dollar amount or commission. I want people to start having fun. And yes, guys, we're going to go back to the weekly events, which is going to be bi-weekly. We're going to go back to every single month having a Saturday event and then also having a Sunday fun day. We really need that. But if you're not local to us, then as a leader, take charge and make that happen. The culture needs to come back. We need to sit here and be more united than ever. Guys, this team has a lot of amazing things that's about to happen, but it's up to us to take the action and make it happen. Look how many leaders are being recognized, how many leaders are going on stage, but how many more leaders can we have do the exact same thing? How many more six-figure earners can we create? How many more R&R members can we create? That's the goal, right? David hit that, Raysa hit that, Rob hit that, Marrero hit that, right? Arnold hit that, Natalie hit that. Cherie hit that. There's so many people that hit that. But who is the next wave of leaders that's going to be recognized on stage? That's what we want to know. And how's that going to happen? Very simple. Practice the 1 through 10. Do as many PBRs as possible. Duplicate the crap out the system. Stay plugged in. Forever coachable. That's exactly how it's going to happen. So what I want to do, I want to give it back to Myra, guys. We have something special we want to do for you guys. It's probably going to be the first time, actually probably the second time we ever done this, but I love it. I love it. I love it because now you guys have access to several leaders. And it's not just what we want to train on, but more what you guys have to access. What is it that's stopping you from growing your business? And what objectives are you guys coming across that's stopping you from actually getting that enrollment, that's stopping you from closing that deal, that's stopping you from growing your business, right? So I want to give it back to Myra. Myra's going to go ahead and open it up and just basically leave it up to the floor. Myra, you got us. I have everybody that I think I should have as co-host, but let's run it, girl. Let's get it.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. I believe there may be one additional panel member based off of that text that I got, but still, let's give it up to our senior vice president, Xavier, for just bringing that raw talent straight with no chaser. I mean, he could talk about the hood all he wants, but I know it don't look like the hood behind him right now. So, you know, again, we can thank this journey, thank his example and this company and opportunity for allowing us to use our 3-digit credit score to change our 5-digit zip code. So anyhow, when it comes to our panelists for tonight, I am excited to introduce these powerful individuals. As he was saying, they topped the charts repeatedly, having walked the stage in various cities throughout the entire nation. To know that they're going to be here personally pouring into us just adds to the value that, again, our senior vice president really brought himself just now. So I'm really, really hyped and excited for those connected. And as far as who these are, cream of the crop, right? I'm going to start with a brief intro to each of these, but to tell you the truth, these first two individuals, it's like you can't even introduce one without introducing the other. You know, I'm going to drop some hints along the way, but you know, at first you would sit there and look at the compensation plan and think about the R&R club, and they've given a totally different definition to that. They, by default, whether they've liked it or not, we have loved them. And as a couple, they have pretty much been a couple the entire team loves across the board. So again, blessings and continued success to you both. You all probably already got the hint. This gentleman himself, he's a vice president with this business, having built one that generates a minimum of 100K every 30 days. He was what I like to refer to as a lifeline enrollment on Xavier, joining at a very odd time of the night. He could tell that story, but at the end of the day, he was in banking and finance, seeing the power that this program allowed people to regain with their finances, and having seen firsthand what it's like to have denied folks, to being now on the other end of approving people. So huge shout out to him. You all already know Mr. Ralph Santiago, R&R Level 1 Club member, and none other than the Mrs., right? The beast herself. She was across both lists tonight, topping the charts repeatedly. I believe what was his second highest, you know, growth or earner in the entire growth, I believe it is, with regards to the whole company nationwide, having walked the stage. She's in the new magazine, by the way, right? The one you could pre-order. So both of them are, in fact, just topping the charts week after week. She came to this industry with no prior experience. None of that stopped her. She's built a proven system that's worked across the board. And of course, we appreciate all the times that she's able to pour into the entire team, training repeatedly and giving of herself first and foremost. She's a fellow mom, and again, a boss lady, absolutely crushing this thing. She's a regional vice president. What that means is she's been able to create a business generating $250,000 up to $500,000 every 30 days in business volume, right? So again, huge shout out to her. Also an R&R Level 1 Club member, boss lady Raysa Otero. Next, moving along to the list of those on our panelists is another vice president where his life was transformed in a mere 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. But this opportunity gave him a chance to actually walk away and fire his boss live on Facebook after just 6 months. If that's not commitment, I don't know what it is. But at first, knowing that he had many challenges, including his very own relatives and family, wanting to sabotage what this opportunity was, telling him he was threatening being kicked back out of the country and just crazy stuff, right? His story just does not fail to blow me away. But also the power of what he brings to the table does just the same. He's been able to kill this thing, again, achieving a great deal of success in a very short amount of time, having those recognitions, topping the charts repeatedly. And again, as a vice president, 100K business every 30 days, right? And a 6-figure income earner, ring holder himself, right? Mr. Bruno Fleuridort, Haitian sensation. In fact, with his growth, he actually influenced the company to open up translation to the Haitian market, right? With Creole. So ça passe, right? Love y'all. Now, as well as an additional panelist member, this man, look, you're gonna hear his name, you know, right along the lines of Xavier's, as well as the other leaders here a lot, because he has truly taken it up so high when it comes to the level of professionalism. You know, let's give it up to our executive vice president for that incredible training he did last night on the VP University. I'm just gonna cut to that chase right there. We're at a sake of time for everyone, but let me tell you something. He has blessed myself and so many others with being able to witness his entire growth on this journey as a professional in this industry, going from being unhireable to right now, people wish they could get him on their team, right? But we are blessed to have him here with us, having built a business generating $500,000 every 30 days in business volume, R&R level 1, of course, member as well. Being able to retire retire from two business locations he owned, brick and mortar locations, prior experience in business ownership, but also knowing what it meant when those businesses owned his time. So again, he's topping the charts as well, repeatedly pouring into the team, did a killer job in the training last night. I hope when I see in the chat, you guys really, really shouted him out for that. Again, that's our Executive Vice President, Mr. David Marquez. Next, we have one of our other boss ladies who I'm blessed to say I met her on this journey, and she would put me in my place if I ever pronounced the city wrong. But guess what? I did it right tonight because I listened. She's a winner, giving us visuals, helping to expand the ways that we can train others and help bring on board new agents to newer levels of success. It's thanks to her we have the 12 weeks of Christmas. It's so much thanks to her too that we're going to be in Worcester, Massachusetts, November 6th for a post-convention event. I had to tap into my previous gangster just to make sure I got that right. But Vice President Miss Natalie Rodriguez herself. Also, last but not least, I have the name of one of our additional vice presidents. This man has as well taken the level of professionalism when it comes to this industry up a notch, having gotten his doctorate degree. He served this country hard on his sleeve. All you got to do is ask this gentleman for help. He is definitely there for the team and always believes in paying it forward. Vice President Dr. Arnold Bogerty as well. So that's it, y'all. Let me get out the way. Let y'all get the good nuggets from them. So it's a Q&A session. Let me ask this though, Xavier, is it that the audience will raise their hand when they're looking to ask questions? Will they put it in the chat? How are we gonna kind of moderate this or, just serve everybody best? What would you say?
I would definitely do people write it in the chat and then you could just read some of the questions and then just pick whatever leader you feel can answer that the best. And if not, another leader will jump in as well.
Perfect. Okay, team, y'all heard it from the best of the best. Class is in session. Who's gonna go ahead and propose the very first question? We're focusing on objections. Now, we've heard it all, right? We've heard it all. And one thing about what Xavier was saying earlier, I took some notes over here on, what's the difference between an entrepreneur who makes a lot of mistakes and an employee who makes a lot of mistakes. That entrepreneur is going to be highly successful and that employee is going to get fired. So this is a zone where we're not worried about if you can get it right. We just want to give you the platform where you can learn about getting it right from those who are doing it. So there's no shame in our game here. We're all here to learn. Even some people who in fact, those I find that have the highest level of success, we're never afraid to ask a question. We're never limited or intimidated by having to learn. So man, to have that wealth, look, if I could be a quarter of what the accumulation and wealth of knowledge of these panelist members are right now, I think I could probably retire a few people. Just saying, team. So come on, I see the chat does not yet have a question. All right, I see one. Awesome. Here we have Chino Rios asking, what is the best approach to people who have watched videos talking about how it's a scam, right? Talking about how this is a scam and etc. So what is the best approach when people see the information and they think that it's a scam? I don't necessarily feel like I could pick a panelist with the best answer to this. I would like to prompt at least two panelists. Maybe we have a lady's perspective on that and then a gentleman's perspective on that. What do y'all say? Any takers? Well, you know what, actually, Vice President Natalie Rodriguez, what's your take on that? Because today I know in the leadership group, or yesterday, I believe it was, you were expressing your excitement and passion over being able to knock somebody's sense and going ahead and deciding to move forward. Somebody who said they were scared, right? So being scared or thinking it's a scam, what's your take on it, boss lady? What would you say?
I would say best approach, people who watch videos. So it's either agent or client. I guess that it's kind of the same thing, but you not paying your bills is also kind of a scam too, though, right? So,
ooh, somebody's getting.
But no. So all right. So it depends on who you're talking to, right? But Is it a scam? Like, you know, I think it kind of goes in with the pyramid thing. So I was talking about this in the morning grind the other day, with Jackie, and the whole thing. You know, is this a scam? Well, if it was a scam, first of all, we wouldn't be in business 14 years. So you guys get that. We've had the same king, and you know, at the same time, when that scam thing turns into the pyramid, when it's part of, you know, when it's the agent, and then I just hit them back with everything is a pyramid. Your job is a pyramid. You're never going to be the CEO. You have your CEO, your presidents, your directors, your managers, your supervisors, and then there's y'all. There's the workers. There's us, right? Well, not me anymore, but there's the workers, right? And so that's a pyramid, right? The jungle, the lions in the top, and the hyenas are in the bottom. The food chain, the fat is in the bottom, and the protein, all of it, everything is a pyramid. So which pyramid exactly are you talking about? Because this pyramid actually allows you to level up together at the same time.
That's excellent. You know, you raised a really, really good point. Thank you. Let's give that up to Natalie for sharing that insight. And, you know, it brings back to one thing I had heard in the past as well is what exactly does a pyramid mean to you? Because at the same time, depending on the relationship with that person, if this is someone that you actually know personally, not cold market, you could literally turn around and if they try to tell you that you're involved in something illegal, I mean, right there, I flipped that real quick. Like, do you really think that I would involve myself in committing a crime? Do you think that's why I would reach out to you? And the few times that I've used that, because of how powerful that is, you're kind of pulling their coat. You're completely removing and eliminating any other grounds or foundation they think they have with trying to come at you with that whole scam word, right? So ask them what they think it is. And like Natalie said, I mean, what does it mean to you, right? Awesome feedback. And then as I was thinking, I would love to hear what our Vice President Bruno would have to say, because I've heard him be very, you know, confident, have posture, like, what? I mean, listen, he went through some things, even with his very own family. You know, and I've heard parts of his story that maybe he, you know, would say or not, but it's like, man, mind blowing. Bruno, can you hear me okay, boss man? And if you're okay with just sharing your take, how would you answer that? When somebody sees the video and you show them the tools, you show them something duplicatable, and they turn around and ask you if it's a scam. What's your take on that, boss man?
Definitely. So first thing, I want to give it back to God, my Savior and Lord Jesus Christ. So, and of course, I want to give it back to the leaders, man, especially Mr. Xavier, who actually, you know, leading the team and stuff. So guys, I think posture is everything in this business. So you need to know the business. You need to know what you have. See, if I know I have a friend, and if I love that friend, and if I, you know, I respect that friend and I know the value they have, I think it's that rejection needs to come first one from knowing what type of business do you have, how important it is. Because when somebody tell me if it's a scam or not, like respectfully, I am going to let you know to go ahead and check my page. Tell me one scammer who have a page for that long and going live on Facebook. You understand me? So, and having picture of their family and friends. And not only this, but also I'm gonna let you know, listen, I'm only here to help people. If they reach out to me to make money, I'm gonna let them know I'm here to help people make money. You know, me and my team, we are helping people. So go ahead and check my page. Come back if you really want to talk about money. So I think the level of posture, the way you talk to those people, sometimes people don't even check my page. They will like, no, I don't want you to be offended. That was not, you understand me? So I think knowing what you have first, as far as the company, the value, then ask them to go ahead and check, you know, your page. Go ahead and do your research, whatever you want to do. And if you want to go ahead and really make money, reach out to me and I can show you that. You know, I think posture is definitely one of the things that helped me with that type of question, you know, if it's a scam or not, because I don't think a scammer will respond like, yo, you understand me? You know, let me try to convince you. Let me try to help you. You know, that's what the scammer will do. But if you have a business, you know what you have, you know what to do, you're going to let people know. Sometimes, you know, people might call you cocky or, you know, you disrespectful, anything like this, but we know what we have. We have a company that's going to $1 billion company. So, and again, that posture was not here because I'm a VP. You know, it was there when I was a field trainer. You know, I ain't go up on people's face. You know what? Do your research. I'm gonna help some more people make money, and I'll call you back. I hang up. I'm gone. So, you know, that's pretty much how I handle that type of, you know, rejection. And like Mr. Arnold said, you know, it's good to make people feel that way. You feel good when you hang up the phone with somebody because they, you know, they talk like this. You know, it's good to tell somebody, you know what? I think you need to do more research. I don't think you qualify. I'm out. You have a good one. So that's me.
That's powerful, Bruno. Wow, I'm over here taking notes, and I love it because you're right. You have this posture that you literally scare these people, taking it away from them. But the truth is, you got to know this is just how good of a program it is that we have, and moves so fast that literally, like, you know what? I have my reminder just went off. I have the next person that's actually getting started right now to call. You know, take it away. Take it away. Again, that's just powerful. Oh my goodness. I know the light.
Myra, let me hop in there for a second.
Sure. Dr. Arnold Bogerty, go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, guys, I love Bruno's posture, and especially, you know, what Natalie said. But I would go with it from a different approach. And this is just my experience. Yes, taking it away from them, you know, if they're asking dumb questions, I mean, obviously, you know, we take it away. Like, listen, you're unqualified for this. But when it comes, you know, to objections, I'd say put yourself in the objection. And what I mean by that is have empathy. If someone has a legit objection, when you respond to them, you know what? I had the same objective, or me too. But this is when the stories come in. But let me tell you about this guy named Bruno Fleuridort. He came over here from Haiti, all right, 4 years ago, didn't know any English, basically, was working at Walmart. He decided to go ahead and partner with us. Now he's a vice president, but not only a top vice president, he's at the top of our list. So let me tell you about, you know, Mr. David Marquez, who was a DJ, losing his house. You know, they were in disarray. And now he's an executive vice president. You know, so I hear your objections, but here are these success stories that are making. And then look at me. I decided to join this. Why? Because I believe in it as well. And so are you going to join us, or are you going to keep having excuses? You know, let me know. That's sort of how I will respond to it. I would empathize with the objection. Don't discount it. Then I would tell a story about a successful person. And then I would ask them, okay, now do you have enough information to get started?
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective as well. I mean, say for different folks, there's different strokes. There's not a one size fits all, but when you can serve from the point of empathy and being relatable, and also feeling, having felt the same thing, having found something that's a connection, and having found a solution to that, when you can relate those things, of course, you can broaden who that connection is made with, and that can actually work towards some of the different personalities. Because again, we're dealing with, they say, at least 4 different personality types when it comes to catering to people's needs, how they communicate, how they receive the information. But again, you got to have the level of comfort, because in none of what Dr. Bogerty explained, even with the empathy, you are not losing that hold of your posture, and your posture will come from your fund of knowledge. So that's when you need to depend on your upline. And that's also when you need to follow mentorship, because if you're stuck with a type of conversation like this, you're not yet at a point to need to be having it by yourself. But definitely so much sauce. What a killer team, right? We're just so fortunate and blessed. Go ahead and light it up in the chat for our leaders, for just coming out the box. They didn't have practice on this besides the success that they've been able to make happen. So we also had a question or a comment put into the chat on the biggest objection being that they can't afford it, right? That they cannot afford it. So I just had the mental thought and note to ask, you know, one of our boss gentlemen here, so our executive vice president, David, how would you answer that? Or what response would be where they say their biggest objection is that they cannot afford it?
Well, I just want to chime in on pretty much there's only 2 types of objections. Everyone always tries to hide it. And you're really just, you got to really go out there, like Arnold said, and kind of find out what is that objection. And the two types of objections there really are is limited beliefs, right? And, you know, in themselves, whether they're too old, too young, time, money, whatever. And in this case, you're talking about money. And then the second one is limited beliefs about network marketing, which would be the objection about the scam, right? So Dr. Bogerty's right. There's 4 steps to deal with objections. You got to listen, right? Like if somebody doesn't have the money, first of all, if the payoff is bigger, I'll go at somebody and I'll tell them, I'll say, well, look, you know, if you don't have the money, right? Let's say I'm willing to give you my keys right now to my Mercedes, right? I'm going to give you my keys to the Mercedes, title and all you need is $300 by midnight tonight. Type a 1 in the chat if you will find $300 by midnight tonight, right? Type a 1 in the chat. Look at that. And it's true. You don't gotta, if the payoff is bigger and greater for you, you will make it happen. That's the limited belief factor. And so another scenario, we ain't talking about, you know, materialistic things like Mercedes and stuff. Let's say you're afraid of heights. Like I'm afraid, you know, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling, right? But let's say I'm on one skyscraper, the size of the Empire State Building, and I'm going across it to another side, and it's a balance beam board, like no bigger than 12 inches. I'm not running across that thing or walking across it for $1 million. But if my kids are on the other side and it's burning, I will run across it because the payoff of saving my children is greater. So anybody that has, you know, tells me they can't afford it, if the payoff is big enough, they'll do it. And so you just got to determine what's the limited belief. And like Dr. Bogerty said, I'll go and listen. I'll relate to them. I'll be like, look, I didn't have the money neither. You know, you guys heard my story yesterday. I pawned my music equipment just so I can get started in this business. And now look what it did for me, right? And so you just got to kind of share a story and let them know. One of the best rebuttals that I actually was able to overcome objections with was telling people whatever they said. If it was a scam, I'd be like, look, first of all, that statement, we all did it. Like, oh, you know, the government, the, you know, church is designed like that. You know, you would win the argument, but you would lose the prospect no matter what by doing that, right? And so the best way to do it, I've learned, was to just identify it, listen to them, and educate them. And so that's kind of how I would answer that one with the argument if they don't have the funds. And then of course, sharing a story. One of the best ways I always learned, like if somebody gave me a rebuttal or an objection, I'd say, look, I don't know about that, but what I do know is, and then share a story that relates to that. They say, I don't have the money. Say, look, I don't know about that, because when I didn't have the money, I pawned my music equipment and boom, I was able to get started. Now I'm making money like this. So you can always relate. If somebody says, look, I don't have time, I don't know about that, but my good friend, you know, so-and-so was working 3 jobs, had children, going to school, and was able to do this 5 hours a week. And so that's really all it is to objections, is determining what the limited belief is in themselves, or is it in network marketing, and then overcoming it.
Very powerful. Thank you so much for that insight. Definitely took notes. I see that perspective. And, you know, it's crazy because here's the thing too, a no right then and there, depending on this conversation you have right now. And like David said, whether you lose this prospect or not, depending on how you have that conversation is whether or not that person will actually turn back around, because you now planted that seed, and depending on what you made them think, maybe although they still shot you down at that moment, maybe they still started to think, man, what if he's right? Or what if she's right? What if this really could work? And then they tap into that emotion, that excitement, and then they're watching you. I mean, I know I said no more than once, and you know, statistics show that people don't always close right away. But
one more thing in that, with UWE specifically, you guys can always use the trial run post. Whenever I had somebody say they can't afford it, I say, look, that's perfectly fine. Like Bruno says, everyone's an agent without a back office. So if you don't have the income and you don't have the money to get started, do me a favor. Well, now it's probably 100 million Americans with less than perfect credit. We're trying to break generational curses. Do you mind putting up a post for me, right? To help reach out to more people. And if we get a couple of people, boom, that will show you that you could do this business. And that eliminates that limited belief for them right there. Plus, it helps you determine whether they're a good agent or not. So just to chime in, not from network marketing, but from actually what we do, the trial run post is a great way for somebody that doesn't have the money to turn around and see if they could do this business.
Awesome point. I'm glad you added that too, definitely, because then they'll see what's possible. But also then with regards to that objection for money, I figured, tapping in on a boss lady's perspective, I had in mind to ask and welcome our regional vice president, Raysa Otero. How would you say you would handle that where people have tried to say they can't afford it? I mean, not to take anything away, David, it was phenomenal, but just to kind of get that insight too, right? Because we all have our perspectives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Myra, for the intro and just for being so consistent on these calls. I don't have my video on because it's been a crazy day. But thank you so much for the leadership team. I mean, the panels are lit, guys, right? Get some flames in the chat. The panels are lit. I'm like, man, what am I going to say? Because that's what I do. But I learned it from them. But I will say that my perspective is a little different because I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money. So I know exactly where those people are. And as I was telling my team today on a training, I was like, the problem is not credit. The problem is income and credit. You see, we often think, hey, these people just don't want credit repair. They want to stay with bad credit. The reality is there's an income problem. And this is why you should be sharing the income opportunity with everyone. But I can relate on a more deeper level because I left $1.07 in my bank account when I submitted that 288 payment. So I'm there with them. So sometimes what I do is I tell them that story. So I do the feel, felt, found. That's like what works the most for me because I want them to know, hey, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the exact same way. I was in the same situation, but here's what I realized. I realized that the biggest reason why I needed to do this was because I didn't have the money, because I didn't want to be stuck a year or two from now, still not having the money. So I relate to them. And I actually have an objections word board folder because you guys are going to get this all the time. You guys are going to get, I got to talk to my spouse. This is a pyramid. I don't like to make money off of other people. Like I've just heard every single objection in the book. But when it comes to it, what works the most is you got to relate. Think about it. Type a 1 in the chat if you didn't have the money when you got started. Be honest. Or when you were first introduced to this. Look at the ones in the chat. This should be an eye-opener for you guys. So we can all agree that it's an income problem. And that's why you guys need to get them in front of the opportunity. A lot of times we try to close client. We're not even showing them the business opportunity. Why? Everybody that you talk to, you should be showing both. And that's what's going to trigger your recruitment numbers. You're just not giving these people an opportunity. But I do the feel, felt, found. It depends. Sometimes if you get the objections can come from different way when it comes to the money. I've had realtors not have the money. Let's be real, and so then we get into the conversation. Well, how many houses did you sell this year? You can kind of start asking questions. They'll tell you exactly what it is. But I just go with my story. I think that you want to be the most genuine as possible. And if that, if it wasn't you and you had the money, that's fine. But you can always borrow my story. We have a top income earner in our company. She left $1.07 in her bank account to get started. So you can borrow someone else's story, as all the leaders said on here as well. I highly recommend you guys having an objection folder and word board, because this is something that's going to happen all the time and you need to come back, and you need to come back fast. Thank you.
Awesome. I agree. That's so powerful. And it's true, like for somebody to sit there, and I would almost feel, saddened with people that would tell me they want to do it and they don't have the money, where I would say like, man, isn't that not fair? As an adult, you can't make a $300 decision. So like, you're like one flat tire away from a financial devastation, and again, it's just to have that empathy, trying to be relatable and kind of sensitive to that too. I actually had an agent that I kind of used a little bit of that verbiage with, that at the moment it pissed her off. So she didn't sign up at that moment, but it pissed her maybe on. She actually came back and said that that comment, when I pressed for her to really think about what was keeping her from getting started, that's actually what ended up turning her light back on. And she came back and was like, you know what, I actually do want to do this. A huge shout out to her. She actually hosted for the very first time our 8 o'clock Spanish overview 1 through 10 last night. So huge shout out to her, boss lady. Much love to her. She's in the game killing it. Now, as far as another question, because again, this is on the topic of objections, and thank you, Raysa, so very much for that. I don't know if I properly thanked you, but again, we appreciate it. Always speaking real talk. Very true. And as far as objections, another note I found in the comments where someone was asking about when they tell you they got to get with their spouse. Rob, we haven't had comments from you. I know the team loves to hear what you always have to say, and I can see you on the screen right now. So what was your take on that, Rob, one of our vice presidents? What would you say?
Oh man, what's up, guys? Give it back to everybody, and good answers from all the panelists. When it comes to the actual spouse itself, there's different ways you can go about it. I've heard leaders go a little rough with it and be like, you got to ask your wife for permission to get your credit fixed, or you got to ask the husband permission to get groceries, like, stuff like that. I really wouldn't go that route. That's probably not, again, it's up there. Some people would use that. You talk about different types of posture, and I would say you got to have a different level of posture to come at somebody that way. The way that I would go about it is that I would want to schedule a conversation with that spouse. The reason why messages get lost in translation. So right now, if Myra was the one said, look, I need to speak with my husband, I'd be like, Myra, before we do that, do you agree that there was a lot of information that I went over just now? And most of us don't retain as much information as, I don't expect you to know everything I just told you in our 20-minute conversation, and you'll be able to drop everything I told you to your spouse. So with all due respect, I think I should speak with the spouse, not you go deliver that message. So if we could reschedule a time where I got you and your spouse on, so where I can answer his questions as the expert, I think you have a better chance of getting you guys both on track where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? That's the way that I would go about it. It'd be like, look, I'm not the dude to say, hey, you got to ask your wife to get your stuff. No, look, right now, if she's the one that's making the decisions, I respect your household, king, queen, whoever it chooses to, but I believe I'm a better person to be able to transfer that info to them about. So if it's okay with you, let's reschedule a time. Let's get the husband and the wife, bring Titi Theo and the uncle and aunt too, right? And get a couple other people on here. So if any of them have any type of questions or objections, I can answer all y'all questions so y'all feel comfortable with the process. So that's the way that I will go about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Rob, I know I've definitely offered that too. I've said, you know what, great. How about we call them right now? I mean, that hasn't always worked, but it's because you don't want to lose how they just heard and retained whatever they did to their capacity. And I would simply say, you just heard that for the first time. I don't expect you to be able to say that word for word.
It's a lot of info. It's a lot of info. I'm just like, look, right now, I'm an expert in the field. I want to help you, and I truly want to help him. I'm sure he would agree if he was on the call with us right now. But give me the opportunity to be able to answer, because you may say, my husband ain't the one for this. He ain't the easy person to talk with. Right? You guys ever heard that? Or my wife isn't the easy person to talk when they're having those conversations. And I'll be like, look, I know I've dealt with the worst of them from the best of them. So just to be able to answer the questions, always just remember that, that the information that we provide to someone, if they're telling it to somebody else, 80% of that stuff is not even being remembered by them. They're just going to go straight to maybe price. It's not going to be the same value. So I would definitely reschedule a time to get them on. Or here's a video you can share with your spouse, so when y'all get together, y'all can watch it together. So here's a pre-recorded video that I did personally. You could tell him that you spoke with that same person, but now here's a video that gives you a visual for both of you guys can see. So that's another route that I will go to.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rob. Definitely a great approach. I know the team is super pleased. All of these golden nuggets coming from our very own team, Relentless. How powerful is that? Now, also moving on as far as objections, there was an agent who asked or put in a scenario on what about those individuals who keep saying they're gonna start on Friday. They get paid on Friday, but then they poof, they get swallowed by planet Earth on Friday. They're gone. I'm curious to ask, our senior vice president, Xavier, how do you handle when somebody says I'm starting on Friday and then they act like they, went MIA? What's your take on that?
Oh man, so look, man, I'm real big on what we call pre-applications, right? So understand this, if I have taken the time to get on a phone call with you or a webinar, whatever the case might be, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, and you have told me that you're ready to get started on a specific date, then what I'm gonna do is, because I don't want people to waste my time. I hate wasting other people's time, right? We learned this from Bobby Kim, waste my money, I can get that back, but don't waste my time because I can never get that back, right? So what I like to do is see if people are serious, because if someone is serious and they say, hey, I would like to get started next week, 2 weeks, next month, right? Then I'm doing a pre-application. I'm going to go ahead and do your application now, and we're going to go ahead and schedule a follow-up. And I'm gonna go ahead and run your application the date that you told me. The reason why I do that is because we have learned to find out a large percentage of people that tell you, hey, call me back on this date because this is when I had the money to get started. They don't, right? It could be because they have the money. It could be that now it's not as valuable or as important to them anymore. So what we like to do is just lock it in. We all know when it comes to sell, it's an emotion, right? So if we already built enough excitement, enough value at that moment to go ahead and get them to say, I want to go ahead and get started and be committed to this, then take the information down now. And don't be scared. This is what we're speaking about, posture. People are like, well, Xavier, we got to ask them for their social security number. Of course we do. Lexington Law is going to ask them for their social security number. Other companies are going to ask them for their social security numbers. Other individuals are going to ask them for their social security number, including their debit card or credit card number, right? So don't be scared of what you do. Take pride in what you do. And when you speak with confidence. So when people are telling me, oh, next week, great. Not a problem. I've been there. I know how that feels, right? Raysa already talked about it. The feel, felt, and found. But what I found out is that if I go ahead and commit now and give up my information, that day I'm guaranteed to get started. You don't have to follow up. There's no excuses, right? The dog didn't run across the street and got hit. Now I got to take him to the vet. None of that. The goldfish didn't drown and die. And now we got to go ahead and pay for the funeral. None of that silly stuff happens. So what happens is at the end of the day, what I like to do is get that commitment right away. Hey, you know what? If we want to follow up on this day, no problem, let's do an actual pre-application. If they don't, then I make it note what best time on that date would I call you on. And I make sure I follow up. Understand, follow-up is key. The fortunes and the follow-up. And sometimes it could take 5 to 12 different follow-ups for you to close that deal. But me personally, to save time, I try to get them to commit as soon as I get them in their first conversation. Hopefully I was able to answer that.
Awesome. Thank you. Always on point. Definitely taking notes to be that certain, to be that sure. I mean, one of our agents in the chat too actually put, right? I think it was Jasmine, if I'm not mistaken, I just had to share this, right? But she literally put, we give that type of information to the pizzeria over the phone all the time. Maybe not our social. But if they want to be iffy about the card, like, yo, your credit is already jacked up. We don't want it, right? So, but no, true. I'll tell you that for people to understand that you're committed and them to see you're serious about it, simply tell them, look, you're conducting business here. This is the way that you operate. They would have never gotten referred to you if you didn't carry yourself in an ethical way, right? The majority of my clients have come from happy clients. So it's that relationship. Now, on that note, there was a similar comment I made, or a similar question that I made note of in the chat, and it was saying on when prospects schedule a call and they say, maybe it's not that they've already determined a day. Maybe you have not yet gotten them on that first initial phone call. If it is a 3-way call, or if it is just a phone call, like we've already had training on being able to close people over a call when it's a client, for example. Shout out to Dr. Arnold Bogerty, he gave that to us a few weeks back. But Xavier, since it's kind of leading along the lines of not keeping that appointment, what would your take be on somebody that said, you know what, hey, you call me on this day to get started, or let's get on a call at this such and such time, and they don't fall through, it falls through their appointment, they don't stick to it. And then I'd like to hear from Dr. Arnold Bogerty as well on both parts of this question.
Yeah, definitely. So me personally, look, if someone tells me that they want me to follow up or they're scheduling their initial, I don't know, meeting, whatever you might call it, what I like to do, honestly, I let them know that I'm gonna follow up anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes prior to our scheduled meeting. The reason why is because one, first of all, things happen. So I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Things might happen. But two, if I don't get a confirmation within those 30 to 45 minutes, then I already know to move on to someone else. So now I'm gonna reach out to another lead that might be available, or I might have to try to schedule something else, right? Because at the end of the day, again, I hate when people waste my time. So the only way I know if that person is going to be fully committed, it doesn't matter if it's going to be the initial meeting or if it's the follow-up meeting, it's because I'm going to confirm it 30 to 45 minutes prior to our actual meeting. If they don't confirm, then I let them know that at this point we will have to reschedule, and I give them 2 dates with 2 different times and let them know that I'm busy and let them know that they're on my schedule, I'm not on theirs. So respect my time the way I'm gonna respect yours. And you have the right to tell people this, right? Hey, look, I did my follow-up. You're not responding. It looks like we're gonna have to reschedule. I have these 2 dates available, these 2 times, what's gonna work best. But please make sure this time it's a time that you can commit to the same way I committed. And basically that's what I do to just show people that I'm, 1, professional, 2, I'm serious about my business, and 3, that I'm on top of my game. And then right after that, and Arnold speaks, then we're gonna go ahead, Myra, and let David do what he's gonna do with his training, all right? And it won't be that long. And guys, I would tell you to stay on. It looks like a lot of people are staying on. Stay on for the training that's about to come up, because it's gonna synchronize with everything we're talking about, and it's gonna make so much more sense to you guys, definitely after David's training. So Myra, continue to do your thing. I'm gonna turn off my camera and do what you.
You've got it, definitely, absolutely. So again, just along those same 2 questions, I was, wanting to prompt and hear what our Vice President, Dr. Arnold Bogerty, also has to say, his take on that. What would you share with us tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 takes on that. One is depending on your volume, depending on the amount of appointments that you have and the people that you're talking to, really dictates to how you respond and how you use your time. I agree exactly with what Xavier said. You make the appointment, and then it's important that you send that reminder, because like he said, people get busy and people forget. I can't tell you how many appointments, and I'm not talking about appointments where I'm going to talk to clients, but let's say my VA appointment, or, appointments that I schedule outside the house that I've forgotten. If I wouldn't have got that email, I wouldn't have remembered it. And so making sure that you're being professional and following up. Now, something that I do that's maybe a little bit different than what Xavier does is that if I don't get a response, let's say when I want to do that follow-up, and to say I have to call the person at 5 p.m., I will still give that person that call at 5 p.m. All right, because they may not be on texting. I'll still give them that call at 5 p.m. I've been surprised by, when someone doesn't confirm, but when I give them the call that they do answer. So I would still give them that call. But then if they don't answer that call, then I don't really follow up again with them. What I do is I say, hey, the ball is in your court now. All right. And then I send them the enrollment link. That's what I do. I send them the enrollment link. That way they will always have it, because more than likely or not, you're not going to get that person back. But at least they'll have some information back there to whereas, hey, now they can go ahead and look at it again. And so that gives them an opportunity to follow up with you. And so that's something that has worked well for me. We all know, like I saw David, I think he put in the chat, follow up 3-4 times. Then you also put them in your 3-week follow up, and then your 6-month follow up, when you can go ahead and follow back up with them. And so as long as you have that system in place. But what I have been doing lately that's been working very, very well is once I set the appointment, if for some reason they don't get on the appointment, I will go ahead and send them the information with my enrollment link, especially if it was an enrollment appointment. And then now, obviously, they're going to have to pay full price. but then they still have it. And then you'd be surprised how many enrollments just pop up, a week later, 2 weeks later from that person that I left the enrollment link. But I will follow up again with them, in let's say 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and then put them in your 6-month follow-up. So that's how I handle that. But the one thing you don't want to do is get upset with them. You don't want to get upset or unprofessional with people that don't answer your calls. A lot of us want to do that because that's your time and you're getting excited because, hey, you want to talk to this person and they don't follow up. You have to fight the temptation of saying, oh, you wasted my time. Well, this company will never help people like you. I mean, I've heard people say all types of dumb stuff, and what that does is just kind of makes you look bad. It makes the company looks bad. And now you're definitely not going to get that client back. So you want to stay professional. All right. Give them access to information and then follow up again later on. But don't worry about it. You have more people to move on to.
Thank you. Of course, we appreciate that. Now, listen, we've had so much about the questions going off. I think I got all pretty much. I'm trying to skim through the other comments and things, but for the sake of time, being that it is already just past 11, we want to get right to the meat and potatoes for tonight. I mean, I can't thank each of our panelist members enough on behalf of the whole team. I know you all showed your love when it comes to the chat, but man, what amazing leadership, right? Because they could be sleeping on a plane, watching their favorite movie with their boo or spouse or whatever, but they're here pouring into us. And it's also amazing to see the different perspectives, right? Just the different takes and where people see. And just as we're different in our leadership, we're able to grow in all sorts of different markets, right? But as far as the training for tonight, in closing, as our Senior Vice President Xavier said, we have a phenomenal topic now that will be the ending for the night. It'll wrap it up, but it'll be well worth the wait to have him stay plugged in. We've already heard on how amazing he has been as far as his professionalism. We heard him on training last night for the entire company. But for us here, we get that special treat to finish out this training session with none other than our Executive Vice President, Mr. David Marquez. I see him eager to pour into us on the screen. And again, we're blessed with your insight, boss man. So if you can hear me, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, first I want to thank you, Myra, for always holding it down. You are the female version Billy Scott for us. We love you for what you do. And then also all the leaders, from Xavier, Raysa, Rob, Bruno, Arnold, everybody, man, phenomenal. Obviously, it's always great. Drop some flames in the chat if you guys obviously appreciate the value they drop. Obviously, they're pouring into everyone. A lot of them don't benefit, and they're just pouring out what they do so that you become successful. And so that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to keep this short because I know everyone's attention span is very limited, just like their limited beliefs. But we're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. So in closing, we are going to talk about closing. So this is the final week of the value month, and I want to make sure you guys do have your enrollments. And, a lot of people don't like to hear the word closing. Some people just don't like that word, but you do need to help become that expert to help that prospect make a purchasing decision, right? And so I want you guys to take some notes and write this down. I'm going to give you 3 types of closings that you can use. One from Eric Worre, one that I learned from another network marketing company. And then of course, the one I kind of combine them in and use it for my closing when it comes to UWE, right? And so first, let's talk about the definition, right? The art of closing. The Webster's Dictionary says closing is a sales term which refers to the process of making a sale, a transaction. The closing is the final step of the transaction in sales. It is used more generally to mean achievement of the desired outcome, which may be an exchange of money or an acquiring a signature, right? And so fun fact about closing, studies indicate that 63% of all lost sales occur because the agent never even asked the client to buy, right? People are scared to ask people to buy. And so hopefully by the end of this training, you guys have that confidence, at least have your word board up so that it can do it for you. But the first thing you have to do is posture up, right? You got to have posture. I remember, a guy when I asked my wife to, a guy doesn't go and ask a girl like, hey, you wouldn't want to go on a date with me, would you? right? There's no posture in that. You know, you got to go in there, and that's what people like. You know, you do not need anyone to join your business. So stop acting like that, right? A lot of people, when they are going in there, it's like you're the one being needy, right? You're doing them a favor. You're fixing their credit, right? And so look at it as if you're interviewing your prospects, especially agents. I do it all the time. Your prospect sense neediness like a dog senses fear, right? People join strength and not weakness. And then professional sort and amateur sell, right? And so so this is kind of how you got to be, right? We're looking for eagles, not chickens. I know I used to hear Matt Moore say this in his presentations in another company, but he would literally say this at a presentation. Like, look, we're looking for eagles, right? Not chickens, people that are scared. This was a great way of closing because who the hell wants to be known as a chicken, right? This kind of forces you to be like, no, I'm an eagle, right? And so he actually did well doing that. So you have to at least try this once. I know Dr. Bogerty talks about it and Bruno just mentioned it, but you need to disqualify your prospect. You see, if someone starts giving you, I remember, let me stop sharing. I remember I was at a Starbucks or no, it was a Panera Bread. And I was with an agent that invited a prospect over, and I had my laptop up. I'm ready to show this guy. He's like, he comes, sits in, right? He walks in late, and he's like, so go ahead and tell me your spiel. I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, you know what? I don't think you qualify for this, but thanks for coming out. Thank you very much. And I closed my laptop, and I told the agent, let's go. I didn't know where I was driving to. I just said, let's go. We drove. And guess what? Not even 2 minutes later, that guy calls back and says, hey, you know, what happened? And basically we told him that, and he ended up saying, no, I'm sorry, man. I just get sold all these things all the time. And, you know, I respect your time. And boom, next thing you know, we signed the guy up, right? And so he didn't do anything with the company, but that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is posture up. Right? I know Dr. Bogerty has an amazing story that he shared one time that somebody got him on a three-way call, and he was like, the guy told him the same thing. Go ahead and tell me your spiel. Dr. Bogerty said, I don't think this is for you. And then what ended up happening, and yes, somebody caught Jasmine, fear of loss, right? Or FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And so you got to pull it from him. You got to take it from him. Think about somebody going to a job interview, right? You should never sound needy. But anyhow, Dr. Bogerty's story was like this. Somebody got him on a three-way call, and he went to talk to the gentleman. The gentleman said, go ahead with your spiel. He took it away from him just like that. And then the gentleman was like, Dr. Bogerty said, look, this isn't for you. Thanks for your time. Hung up. The gentleman called back, apologized to Dr. Bogerty, but Arnold still said, I appreciate you being man enough to call me back. However, he still took it away from him. So that's the type of posture you need in this, right? And I just did it recently with the solar guys, so who's now getting ready to join the team. So let me go back into this, sharing my screen. Posture up, guys, and take it away from people. Now, closing starts with you. Your confidence, you got to have unshakable belief, right? A lot of people don't have that unshakable belief. Also, you're a consultant, not a sales person, right? People hate to be sold. Some people, I told you, they don't like the word sale. And so just know this, write this down if you're taking notes, right? A lot of people are ready, but you aren't skillful enough to help guide them through. You have to think of this as persuasion versus convincing, right? The difference between persuading and convincing. Convincing is convincing somebody to get something that they don't necessarily need or they don't benefit. It's for your benefit, right? Persuasion is actually persuading something that is going to benefit them. You understand? So you need to think more persuading than convincing, right? And then also consultant versus salesperson, and is like a farmer versus a hunter. You heard me say it yesterday. A lot of people come at this like, I got to get one. I got to get one. Stop acting that way, because people can see that. People can tell when you look at them as a number and you're a hunter. But if you look at them as a farmer, right, you're looking for people that are looking for you. And that's when you become a consultant. And so the most effective way to close is by asking questions. all of these objections that we heard, I always ask questions. Like with the spouse, I say, look, you know, what would your spouse say about this, right? In reality, I'm just getting to know what that person is thinking. So that's a great way to find out what's really on their mind, right? If Myra had told me, look, I got to talk to my spouse, and say, that's we should, but knowing the information today, what would your spouse say? See, you'll only learn that by asking questions. You got to be a master asker, right? Write that down. Be a master asker, right? Have them imagine doing this. And so this is where I'm gonna lead you in. Once you find out by being an active listener and a master asker, I want you guys to know this. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's one of the ways I was able to really close. So here's Eric Worre's 6 closing questions. Go ahead and write these down. The first one is you're going to ask somebody after they see the information, right? Once you've followed up with them, they've seen a video, they've seen a webinar, you got them on and saw the Billy Scott 18-minute video. You just simply say, what did you like best about what you saw, right? And the reason why this is an awesome question is because the worst question to ask is, what do you think, right? When you say, what do you think, it just opens up a can of worms for them to look at what they didn't like. So the best question you can ask is, what did you like best about what you saw? And then the second question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, based on what I just showed you, where are you, right? It doesn't matter if the person's a 1, a -1, you can still get them to taking the next step with you. And I'm going to show you in a second. But number 3 is, how much money would be worth your time, right? All we care about is getting a number, guys. Get a number from that. And then number 4, how many hours per week can you commit to building that amount, right? And then 5, how many months would you be willing to work those hours a week to get to that level? You see, by asking these questions, they're actually thinking about doing this, right? You're having them imagine about doing this, and you're really just, you should always get a response from them. And then you finish with the, if I would you, right? If I could show you, I'm gonna give you an example here. So these are the questions, right? What did you like best about what you saw? I like making money and utilizing the product. Awesome. Scale of 1 to 10, based on what I just showed you, where are you? They say an 8. Awesome. How much money would be worth your time? All we care about is the number. They say something, you just get it. 500 a month? Awesome. How many hours per week can you commit to building that dollar amount, right? You put 500 a month. And so, let's see, we got somebody unmuted. There we go. Thank you. Okay. And so then you would say, if you said how many hours per week can you commit to building that money, you know, that 500 amount? Now you're going to say, they say maybe 15 to 20 hours. Awesome. Then you're going to sit there and say, how many months would you be willing to work those hours a week to get to that level, right? They say maybe 6 months or so before calling it quits, right? So this is where you would do the if I would you. Now you just plug in all that info and go for the close. If I could show you a way, Myra, to earn 500 a month over 5 to 6 months, would you be willing to get started, right? Guys, this was powerful. I use this a lot. And then I also learned from my other company, which was an easier, simpler method of doing it, was the 3-step close. And this is what I use. It was so simple. Like, Myra, I don't know if you're able to hear me or you can unmute yourself, but I like to show you this simple technique, right? This way of doing it. I'd rather do it with you, right?
Okay.
All right, awesome. So it would be like, Myra, what did you like best about it? The credit, the business, or both?
Both.
Awesome. Me too. That's why I got started, right? So if you could actually get your credit up and earn extra income, what would you get? Would you get a new house, new car, refinance, what?
Well, I mean, I just really want to get my credit fixed, you know, but I know that if I get good credit, then I'll be able to, you know, maybe little by little, my job, I can, you know, maybe be able to buy a house eventually. But I just want to get it fixed.
Awesome. I did too. Sounds great. Sounds like you're ready to get started. Welcome to the team. You see that? I automatically assumed it. She positioned herself. She imagined herself doing it. That was it. My posture was different. That's all it is, guys. No matter what it is, the product, business, or both. You're going to sit there and ask them, well, if you could, what would you do with it, right? And she told me, and I said, awesome, sounds like you're ready to get started. I like to do it in person because when I do it in person, I'll put my hand up like this and I'll be like, while I'm saying, awesome, sounds like you're ready to get started, no one's ever going to turn down that high five, right? And so remember, people do what you do, right? I want to see if everybody has, for the most part, I was going to, let me go ahead and share my screen and finish off with this. This is the last one. You can take screenshots of this. I can send it in the chat for you guys, but this is really the last one. So I gave you 3 different ways to close, right? This is the UWE close, right? So it's what did you like best from what you saw in the video, right? Based on the idea of covering all your bills, right? And you were ready to start earning more income on a part-time basis. Approximately how much would you need to earn per month for this to be worth your time? They'll tell you. And then you ask how many hours could you commit each day without taking away from what you're currently doing now? And then boom, I say, that's not too bad. Then I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, and I give them an example. 1 being that you're not that serious, 10 being that you're serious like yesterday. Where do you see yourself? And then boom, I say, so if I could show you a way that you can get making that income, and instead of putting that income, you're gonna put the income they told you, right? If it's $1,000 a month, just for starters, working, you know, and they told you 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week, you'll plug those numbers in and you would say, would you be willing to get started today? Everyone should be utilizing this technique, right? Because it works. I've done it multiple times, and closing, right? You want to create a world they want to live in based on what they desire. Like Marrero was talking about in that example. You could be a world-class closer practicing these questions over and over again, and the techniques. I would encourage everyone to do that this week. Reach out to all your follow-ups and close them, right? And then all we're doing is helping our prospects make a decision, right? You're not here. You just need a yes or a no, right? Stop beating around the bush with these people. They're gonna ride you all around, and you could be wasting a lot of time. But I'm gonna play this because there's a lot of people out here that what happens if you get a smart ass, right? What happens if you get somebody that wants to go out there and tell you, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, and they tell you a negative 500, right? Look how easy this technique works. I got Eric Worre, that kind of the man we learned this first from, going over it live with an audience member.
Somebody want to just bring me a microphone. Somebody bring me a microphone. I want somebody to be the most negative person you know that has no interest in building a network marketing business. Who wants to be my guinea pig? Somebody? You want to do it? All right, stand up, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Hillary.
Hi, Hillary. All right, Hillary, let's just say I just showed you a video.
Okay.
And I say, Hillary, based upon what I just showed you, what did you like best?
I didn't really like anything. I mean, how do you even do that?
All right.
It makes no sense to me.
You didn't really like anything. Fantastic. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you have 0 interest, and 10, you're ready to get started right this moment, where are you? Where would you put yourself?
Dude, I'm not like a negative 500. That seems like a scam to me.
All right, fantastic. Scam to you, negative 500. Let me ask you a question, Hillary. Off the record, just between you and me, and I'm not assuming that you're going to do this, but you would, of course, be not looking the other way when we would do this, would you? You got to at least look at me.
Oh, okay.
So, hypothetically, you don't seem like a perfect candidate, but
Yeah,
hypothetically, I get it. I totally get it. I'm with you. Hypothetically, off the record, just for fun, if you...
Myra, can you see my screen?
No, I'm actually just seeing you. I thought you were just playing the audio.
Oh, because you hear it. Okay, because I just...
Correct. We can hear it. Yeah, we can hear it, but I just thought we were gonna get to see your, amazing face, right? For the rest of
You should have told me that. Okay, so now I'm over here looking and well, good thing I wasn't doing anything else. All right, so tell me if you're able to see, let's see.
Yes,
here.
good thing you weren't doing anything else. Yes, you're sharing your screen
You can
now.
see it? Good Lord. All right.
I'll let you know when we see the video.
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right,
5
cool.
something
Did
process.
decide to do something with this business, how much would you need to earn per month in order to make this worth your time? Realistic, what would be worth your time?
I mean,
You know why worth your time is such an important phrase? Everybody has a number. You want to make X money? Some people don't. Everybody has a number that would be worth their time. The richest person you know has a number that would be worth their time.
so if I was gonna really do this part-time and start, we're assuming I'm.
Yeah, we'll assume whatever you want.
Time.
Just for your time, what would you need to earn per month to make it even worth it?
I mean, if I'm gonna leave my amazing job at Jamba Juice, I gotta be making at least like $2,000 part-time.
All right, $2,000 part-time. Let me ask you this. How many hours a week do you think you could realistically commit to working something that was actually paying you $2,000 a month part-time?
I mean, in between all the stuff I do and everything.
Yeah.
I guess 5 to 10 hours. If I had to, if I really had to.
I'm not saying you could or should, but if you had 2, 5, or 10 hours, all right, how many months would you give it working 5 to 10 hours while you were building up to a $2,000 monthly income? Realistically.
I mean, I'd want to see the initial results.
I get it.
And
you want to see some results, but let's just assume that you're going towards that goal in some kind of methodical fashion.
Okay.
If that was the case, how many months would you give it?
I mean, I feel like half a year seems fair.
Half a year seems fair?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So let me ask you this, Hillary. I know you're a minus 500, but if I could show you how to develop a $2,000 monthly income, working 5 to 10 hours a week over the course of the next 6 months, would you at least be willing to take the next step and learn a little bit more?
Yeah, I guess I'd be interested.
It's so hard. It's so hard. She was a negative 500. How hard is it? I'm not kidding. If you go through these questions, it's so hard for a person to say, absolutely, I'm not interested in learning more. At least at a minimum, you can get them to take the next step.
That's right. Get them to take the next step, guys. That's it for me. I just wanted to make sure you guys seen that. It doesn't take, I mean, this was a person that was negative 500 and even said it was a scam, right? It's true. Once you go through those steps, you will turn that person around because they gave you the answers. You didn't make that up. So hopefully you guys take this and run with it, and we get everybody enrolling people this week for the final week of the calendar month. All right, Marrero, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, team. Listen, I don't think we could have topped this off any better. I don't think we could have had any more of a better way to close out this month, right? Without these techniques for closeout. Worcester, Massachusetts, post-convention event. Stay plugged in. Remember, in December as well, we have GoPro, which we can all do nationwide from home. But understand that this recording will definitely. I want to thank all of our entire leadership team and everyone. Have a blessed night, and let's continue to get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.